It is nice in the winter to get sorted out. Here we have the perennial beds. All these have got to be stripped out, the last year's perennials, and they've either got to be repotted, divided, fed, and just dealt with generally and tidied up. The beds have to be disinfected and cleaned, and it's just general husbandry, but it takes a long time. And we've got some heavy snow due this afternoon. We've finished the trees. These are our trees. You can see here. These are beautiful little apple trees. 2-year-old bushes. 106 rootstock. That means it grows to about 12-15 feet. On the other side, here we have M27 rootstock. Now these generally reach about 7 feet. Again, they're 2-year-olds. You can see they're 2-year-olds because last year they were a single-stemmed maiden. I'll show you some of those in a moment. And here they were cut back. So throughout the course of last summer, the summer as it was, the head formed on the tree. Again, as if you've seen any of my other videos, you will know that when you cut a tree off at a height, all the buds further down the stem vie to be the strongest bud. It's what we call apical dominance. So they generally, all the top 3 or 4 buds break away and form the head of the tree. This year we'll do the same again. We'll cut these off here, and then that'll help it bush out further. This more or less applies to ornamentals as well as cherries. Particularly the Sylvestris, Pinus. And of course the first 3 or 4 years, particularly of a fruit tree, are the formative pruning years, the years when you develop the shape of the tree. After that the pruning changes, and then you're pruning for fruit or fruiting potential. But that's another story. These here are little maiden trees, and as we just spoke about, you can see it's a single stem that's grown up through the year from the grafting point down here, and here is where it's been tipped off. So that's a maiden tree. The good thing about a maiden tree from the customer's perspective is that he's able to do anything he wants with it. You could cut these off lower if you wanted to train it as an espalier or a fan, or you could take it up further, just keep the main top stem and continue up, and if you want to develop it as a standard or a half standard. But generally if you wanted to do that you wouldn't have cut them off, but you can still develop them that way. Here are some plums. You can see this is cut off here, and we come back here, you can see that stem is about 6 to 8 feet. That means that the head of the tree is going to form at a height. Generally speaking in trees, if you cut them off and the head forms at 2 to 4 feet, it's a bush tree. At 4 to 6 feet it's a half standard, and 6 to 8 feet it's a full standard. These little plums here, down this section of trees, these are half standards. This here is about 4 feet, and over here on this side are some full standards. These are about 6.5, 7 feet. If you're planting in a field, full standards are very good because you can get the tractor right up close to them. Again, this is more fruit trees. These have all been potted up this winter. These are young ornamentals that have been dug out of the field. You've got Pinus, the flowering cherries, Sylvestris, the various forms of mountain ash, of which there are dozens. These are all waiting now to be sold through the course of the summer. Over in this section we have more trees. There's probably near on 1,000 trees here of various ages. These are more mature ornamentals. Here on the end you've got Pyrus chanticleer, the Lovely colourful pear. Fantastic autumn foliage. The malus, the flowering cherries or crab apples. Lots of those. The silver birches. You can see with some of these, people think, oh, they're a lovely white stem, but yours aren't. But they don't start to develop the white stem until they reach about the 3rd year. Here, this is 2 to 3 year old wood, and you can see the stem is just starting to split its outer layer of bark. It exfoliates, and underneath it starts to develop white. But in its early stages it doesn't do that. We go up here to 2 year old wood on the same plant, you can see it's still brown. Explaining that to people is sometimes difficult. They think you're trying to pull a fast one and sell them a non-white birch. On this one you can see a really good example of how, there, you can see how this bark is just peeling back. That's 3 year old wood. So trees are important to us. They're you know, they're part of our income stream, and we have to look after them. We're checked by DEFRA every, well, once or twice a year. Every year all our beds are disinfected. We use something called Armilatox, which used to be developed for a honey fungus, but it's a fantastic disinfectant. And here, Chamycyperus nucatensis. Some lovely cedars. These cedars are 7 or 8 foot tall. Cedrus atlantica glauca. If you saw the other video on the 3 ugly sisters, the one about the weeping cedars that was filmed at Ascot House, you'll see that these are the same ones. These are about 7 or 8 years old, and they are Cedrus glauca pendula. Lovely thing, very dramatic. So the trees are done. Now we move on to the shrubs and the perennials, and life goes on. Hedging plants, laurels. Other climbers are also done. Here you can see we have literally hundreds of clematis. I started putting these into larger pots because I get fed up with, well, with the pissy little things you buy in garden centres sometimes. But the work is relentless. There is just so much of it to do, and there's never enough hours in the day. However, that's not a bitch or a moan. It's better than working for a living. How's that for a little pine? It's another beautiful little tree. That's Pinus Sylvestris gold coin. You'll have seen that on another video. But I've just trimmed this one a little bit so that the branches are a little bit further apart. The colour on that is absolutely exquisite. The hedge in the background, by the way, is a Ligustrum, a type of privet. Conifers. They're all sorted out. It's just the perennials. I mean, it's mid-January now. It's about to piss down with snow for a week or two. These are the corners. And we've still got the perennials and shrubs to do. And they take many weeks. But there you are. I hope that's a little explanation of our trees and what we have at Eggleston at the moment. Right. What's that dog doing? Tucker, bloody pack that up, you daft bugger.